Hello, good morning, everybody. Hi. Hello. Hi. Kerala Piravi was yesterday. So we were here for a program. Today there is a debate on midwifery, which I am doing for the first time ever, and I have been conducting debates for the past 7 years in my support group. So this is new for me as well. സോ ഇന്ന് മിഡ്വിഫറി എന്താണെന്നുള്ളത് പ്രിയങ്കയിൽ നിന്ന് മാത്രമല്ല നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും കൂടെ ഒരുമിച്ച് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്ത് വി ആർ ഗോയിങ് ടു മേക്ക് പീപ്പിൾ അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ് വാട്ട് ഈസ് മിഡ്വിഫറി. സോ ടോപ്പിക് ഈസ് മോഡേൺ മിഡ്വിഫറി ഈസ് നോട്ട് യുവർ ഗ്രാൻഡ് മദേഴ്സ് മിഡ്വിഫറി. അതാണ് ടോപ്പിക്. നല്ല ടോപ്പിക് അല്ലേ? സോ ഐ എം ഷുവർ ദ പബ്ലിക് ഹാസ് ദ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, വാട്ട് എക്സാക്ട്ലി ഈസ് മിഡ്വിഫറി? മിഡ്വൈഫ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആരാണ്? നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ വയറ്റാട്ടി എന്ന് പറയും, തമിഴില് മരുത്തുവച്ചി എന്ന് പറയും അല്ലെ പ്രിയങ്ക? പ്രസവം പാക്രവൾ എന്ന് പറയും, ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ മിഡ് വൈഫ്. സോ എന്താണ്, വാട്ട് ഇസ് ദ ഡിഫറൻസ് ബിറ്റ്വീൻ ദി ancient way of doing or profession of midwifery versus the modern midwife? Okay. We want to know from you people as well. നിങ്ങൾ midwifery എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എന്താണെന്ന് നേരത്തെ എന്താണ് വിചാരിച്ചത്? സെൻട്രലോട്ട് വരുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് എന്തായിരുന്നു നിങ്ങളുടെ ന്യൂ ഫൗണ്ട് നോളജ് അബൌട്ട് വാട്ട് ഈസ് മിഡ്വിഫറി? മിഡ്വൈഫ് എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എന്താണെന്നാണ് നിങ്ങൾ ഓൾറെഡി വിചാരിച്ചിരുന്നത്? ഒന്ന് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാമോ?
So midwife, when I was delivering Sasha earlier in 2012, I wasn't aware of the midwife concept in India. പുറത്തൊക്കെ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. I was thinking midwife is more like a mother's best friend who can deliver at home also, especially in the States. പക്ഷേ only after my sister, when she had a VBAC here in Birth Village, I was more aware of the midwifery. സോ മിഡ്വൈഫറി എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ഇത് എനിക്ക് ആദ്യം അറിഞ്ഞില്ലായിരുന്നു. അറിഞ്ഞെങ്കിൽ മേ ബി ഐ വുഡ് ഹാവ് അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് ട്രൈഡ്. സോ ഇറ്റ്സ് ആ ഒരു I think career is not explored much.
I came to know about Birth Village when I was pregnant with my first child. But for me, it was like, when I inquired, it was like, it was a place which did not have doctors. Oh. And for me, midwife, again, I thought like, our grandmother's midwife kind of a thing. So, അങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു എൻ്റെ ഒരു കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് ബിഫോർ ഐ കെയിം ടു നോ അബൌട്ട് ബർത്ത്.
ഇവിടെ ആരും ഒരു കിളവി ഇരുന്നിങ്ങനെ ബേർഡ്സ് ഒക്കെ നടത്തുകയാണ്, അതുകൊണ്ട് ആ സ്ഥലം ശരിയാവത്തില്ല അല്ലേ? എനിത്തിങ് എൽസ്? എനിബഡി തോട്ട് ഇറ്റ്സ് സംതിങ് ടു ഡു വിത്ത് വൈഫ്?
മിഡ്വൈഫ് എന്താ അതൊന്നും എനിക്ക് അറിയില്ലായിരുന്നു. ഐ ജസ്റ്റ് വാണ്ടഡ് someone who can answer my questions. And ബർത്ത് സെന്ററിൽ വന്നപ്പോൾ ഐ മെറ്റ് ഹർ ഫോർ ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈം. ജസ്റ്റ് എന്താണെന്ന് അറിയാൻ വേണ്ടി കയറുന്നപ്പോൾ എനിക്കൊരു ഇൻഫോംഡ് ഡിസിഷൻ വേണമായിരുന്നു. someone who knows best. എനിക്ക് റാൻഡം എനി പേഴ്സൺ പറയുന്നത് കേൾക്കുന്ന ഒരാളല്ല. So I just want a meeting with her, that's it. I didn't know anything about Birth Village or midwifery system or anything. And just one meeting did the job because she could give me all the answers that I wanted. അതെനിക്ക് വേറെ ഒരാളുടെ ഒന്നും കിട്ടിയിട്ടില്ല. ഈവൻ വേറെ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനിലായാലും they just like leave it to us, ഞങ്ങൾ നോക്കിക്കോളാം. I didn't want that. I wanted answers and she could give me everything, every answer that I asked. So every question she had an answer. So I thought, where else?
Yes. For me, I remember like 5-6 years back when my sister was in the 11th 12th standard, she wanted to take up midwifery as her career. And I demotivated her. I said, what are you saying? That's such a grandmother's job. Why would you want to take that? So she's not a midwife. But when I chose Birth Village, I did not hear the word midwife. All I knew was that this was a place that would support mothers. That is why I came to Birth Village. And after coming here, I came to know what is midwife, what exactly do they do, how things go around here.
മിഡ്വൈഫ് എന്ന് ഞാൻ ആദ്യം കേട്ടിട്ട് ലൈക്ക് പണ്ടത്തെ മിഡ്വൈഫ്സിനെ കുറിച്ച് എൻ്റെ മനസ്സിലുള്ള ഐഡിയ ലൈക്ക് വെൻ ദ ലേഡി സ്റ്റാർട്ട്സ് എ ലേബർ പെയിൻ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു അമ്മൂമ്മേനെ കസേരയിലൊക്കെ എടുത്ത് പൊക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. That is what I thought of midwife was fun, when I was small. But later on, കുറച്ചും കൂടെ ഒരു ഐഡിയ ഒക്കെ കിട്ടി. പക്ഷേ till I came here, I never knew about the modern midwife. That I have to say.
മൂത്ത മകളെ പ്രഗ്നൻ്റ് ആകുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ യൂഷ്വലി ചെയ്യുന്ന ഓരോ നിയർ ബൈ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ വിസിറ്റ് ചെയ്തു. പക്ഷേ എനിക്കൊരു പാട്ട് ഡിപ്രഷൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം അത് ഒട്ടും തന്നെ അവർ അഡ്രസ്സ് ചെയ്തില്ല. അപ്പം ഐ വാസ് ഓൺ ദ വേർജ് ഓഫ് ആക്ച്വലി അബോർട്ടിംഗ് മൈ ചൈൽഡ്. ഒത്തിരി ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് പ്രഗ്നൻ്റ് ആയിട്ട് പോലും എനിക്ക് ആ ഒരു ഫേസിൽ ഒട്ടും മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ആ സമയത്ത് മാതൃഭൂമിയിലൊരു ലേഖനം വന്നിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ വയറ്റാട്ടികളെ കുറിച്ച് കുറച്ചുകൂടി പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നുണ്ട്. നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിലുണ്ടോ, കേരളത്തിൽ എവിടെയെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് അന്വേഷിക്കാം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് അങ്ങനെ ഞങ്ങളൊരു സെർച്ച് തുടങ്ങുന്നു. പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിലുണ്ടായിരുന്ന ആൾ 5 വർഷം മുമ്പ് മരിച്ചുപോയി. അപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങൾ ഭയങ്കര ഡെസ്പറേറ്റ്. പക്ഷേ 5 വർഷം മുമ്പ് നമുക്ക് ആകാമായിരുന്നു, പക്ഷെ അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ മാരീഡല്ല. അങ്ങനെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ദിവസം ഞങ്ങൾ ഒരു ടോക്ക് ഷോ ഏഷ്യാനെറ്റിൽ ജസ്റ്റ് കാണുമ്പോൾ ഒരു വാട്ടർ ബർത്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടൊരു ടേം നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുകയാണ്. പക്ഷെ ആ വാട്ടർ ബർത്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു ടേമിന്റെ പുറകെ പോയി ഞങ്ങളൊരു എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു 10 o'clock എന്തുമായിരുന്നു ആ ടോക്ക് നടക്കുന്നത് ഏഷ്യാനെറ്റ് 10 to 11 ആയിരുന്നു. ആ ടൈമിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ അപ്പം തന്നെ നമ്മൾ സെർച്ച് ചെയ്ത് ഇങ്ങനെ വാട്ടർ ബർത്തിങ് ഇൻ ഇന്ത്യ അവിടെ നിന്ന് നമ്മൾ ഇങ്ങനെ പോയി നമ്മൾ നാരോ ഡൗൺ ചെയ്ത് വന്ന് ലാസ്റ്റ് നമ്മൾ ബർത്ത് വില്ലേജിൽ എത്തുകയാണ്.
Want to add anybody?
I got to know about birth village and midwifery even before I got married. And we were, So since then, I've been researching about. I've read a couple of birth stories, and I was quite inspired, like how positive births can be.
Now let's hear from Priyanka. What exactly is modern midwifery?
Yeah. So, your talk, when you were all talking, you mentioned about traditional midwifery versus modern midwifery, right? To start with, she mentioned a term in Tamil. There is prasavam paakathu. This is a very beautiful term because it means that somebody is there to witness your birth. That's the original line, right? And for me personally, though I cannot say I'm schooled in traditional midwifery, I have immense respect for it also. Because each and every one of us sitting here is a product of somebody way back in generation who has taken care of our great grandmothers, and that's why we are all sitting here today. So there is a lot of skills and knowledge that they have, but what happened in our country is that we could not integrate them. See, when you look at the US, you had the granny midwives or the black midwives were taking care of the huge population there. But what happened is a lot of them did get integrated into the healthcare system. They were given additional training because, of course, there's a lot of advancements that modern medicine has brought in terms of, in terms of ensuring much more babies survive. A lot more life-saving medications has come in. A lot of things. But in India, what happened is that with Western education, I've said this before also, came English. And with English, most of our traditional midwives, obviously, അവർ നാട്ടിലെ ഭാഷ മാത്രമേ സംസാരിക്കുന്നുള്ളൂ. English അവർക്ക് പേടിയായിരുന്നു. Because everything looked very huge and unapproachable to them. So they retreated back, right? So basically, that's what happened. On the other hand, if you look at countries like Sweden, Monaco, Australia is another one, they lead extremely high in terms of maternal and newborn health outcomes. But in these countries, it is a midwife who's the primary care provider. So it is directly showing that a midwife who's a trained health professional definitely will impact mothers and babies in an extremely positive way, right? So modern midwife is somebody she's been through a 4-year program. She's working only on maternal health only. A midwife is somebody who is working intensely with each woman on her physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, holding her space for birth, post-birth really supporting her. And it is about one-to-one care, right? So midwife will know a lot of things about you that others may not know, right? So this is something that defines midwifery. Also, a lot of people think about midwife as somebody who comes with a bucket and some water, right? But that's not true because midwives come with a whole lot of technological stuff today. There's listening to the baby that's involved, there's monitoring that's going on, you will have a hemorrhage, they have to use drugs. There's a lot of medical tasks that they're involved in.
Another concept that we have to talk about today is accessibility and choices that a mother has. How many choices can an Indian woman have?
With respect to choices, once you get married, it's understood that you at some point of time you have to get pregnant. Right from there, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice not to become pregnant. That's a very rare case where you stand up for yourself and probably your entire household will be against you and you fight for it. So I would say right from birth, but since we are talking about pregnancy, for a woman right from marriage, it's your voice against the world. Now when you become pregnant, again you have no clue about pregnancy or what is going to lead to or how the whole process is going to be. your mothers don't speak to you, your in-laws don't speak to you, other women you meet don't talk to you about pregnancy. It's never a topic of discussion in your social circles or gatherings. So then you believe that it's a very nice process, a very where you feel that you can make choices for yourself, but then you find out it's not true. There are so many instances where people come and tell you throughout your pregnancy, do this or don't do this, do that, this will help you better, and where you will be blank, and this is how most pregnancies in Kerala at least work.
Anybody else on choices and accessibility?
For me, I am from Cochin itself. So initially, I heard about Birth Village, but then I was not sure what it is, and I told my husband that let's see. I read a lot of good reviews, and I read birth stories. He said, "What are you talking? You cannot go to a place which doesn't have a hospital." And then I ended up having a cesarean section in an institution. So when I got pregnant the second time, so then I was again showing to an institution itself. But then when I asked the doctor, when I asked the healthcare provider whether I can go for a normal delivery, they said no. There's a cesarean section scar that is there that can cause an issue, so we cannot take this. So, it was very accessible for me, honestly. I was here only, and the choices I had was it was my choice, my decision. At every stage, it was evidence based, yes, but then I was always in the center of this whole thing, where I could decide for myself. So, and my midwife would support me, which was never the case in a healthcare institution.
We went to this very famous institution in Cochin, and again a very famous care provider over there. And first of all, she asked me to get admitted by 37th week. So I thought, I didn't know what was going on. I really did not have an idea. I just, I thought, I'll go, I'll get the pain, I'll push the period, I'll come back. That's it. And C-section was like, it will never happen to me because, it's something it won't happen in my dictionary or my, pregnancy agenda, whatever that is. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ ചെന്നു 37 വീക്കിൽ അഡ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്തു. They did all, all the induction procedure and all those things. Obviously, my body was not ready, which I know after coming over here, after all our talks. And again, I ended up having a C-section. From that point, I did not have a choice. See, I did not have a choice to tell that I don't want to come at 37 weeks, or if all my parameters are okay, why don't we wait? I didn't even think of asking her that.
We don't even know we can wait.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, when I got pregnant this time, I went for the first few weeks. I went there for the consultation, and I asked her if a vaginal birth is possible this time. And what she told me is that I already gave you a trial of labor. Now why do you want it? That's what she asked me. I felt that was so rude to tell me that. It's like I'm asking for some favor from her.
I want to say something about the perspective of a man, a husband. The choice. He also has to have a choice. When we go to the institution, the other institutions, we have gone for the first pregnancy, we have gone to another institution. And I didn't have a choice, no choice at all, of going with her, meeting the care provider, or anything like that. Just making her pregnant. That was the only choice. So, we got in contact with this institution and we came here. Then I got the choice of being with my partner all the time. All the time. From coming here, from that moment till the birthing of the child. And even after that.
So Priyanka,
Yeah.
tell us about autonomy.
Autonomy. There is one researcher who put this statement, and I've thought about it many times. He put out a statement saying that Americans need choices and Indians need direction. So I've thought about this. It sounds a little hard to hear this as an Indian, but is there some truth to that statement is a question. There is something to think about. Because when all of you are speaking, you mentioned about parental pressure, you mentioned about not knowing anything. You mentioned about this. So does it mean that as a population we need guidance in which direction to go is a question.
In my childhood, I have heard my mom talk about her pregnancies, which happened in a medical institution, and they are not nice stories. She did not have any choice whatsoever. In fact, she was forced to cooperate. You know, she had a male attender, push her on her stomach, stuff cloth in her mouth, and all these horrible experiences. What I've heard. My cousins also have had terrible experiences. Most of the women in my family, but they kept going to the same hospital also because they didn't have. That's the hospital that everyone, all the family was going to. So they also went like kind of like a herd, you know, to that hospital. And because I had heard of this term called water birth, I had decided that that's what I'm doing. It looked very peaceful. It looked very gentle.
Whether an Indian woman has freedom of choice, that is the first part. So, to me, the answer is no. Because I feel she is bound by so many people in her family. And I really like what Veera has put forth. It's a wonderful thing. And I really wish everybody had that. But what I'm seeing is that she's dependent on many other people before she makes a choice. It can be her husband, her mother. You know, so many people have to kind of second her decision. That's one issue. I've seen a lot of things change from, you know, in 2010, we would have couples who are birthing with us and their parents are waiting at some other hospital, thinking that they're in ex-labor room and somebody's having a baby here. Another beautiful thing which I feel today is a lot of husbands today come in the first appointment and say, I don't know anything. I don't know anything, but it's her body, it's her right. So I'm going to respect that. I don't know anything. You know, so, and that's really nice to hear. But I also feel when choices are in front of you, Indian women generally are a bit hesitant to explore. You know, explore, find out for yourself, make that first step to understand what it is. Even to understand, they're hesitant.
This also continues, you know, the inability to take a decision during marriage or birth. It continues. Like people who attend my classes, it's almost the same question everywhere. It's just that the class or the topic differs. How do I convince my mother-in-law to not make me give bottles? How do I convince my mother to allow me to do baby-led weaning? How do I convince my husband to let me impart sex education? So it's like she wants us to give some kind of ideas to make her convince others. So yeah, so I think this continues. So, and one more thing is this, everything brings us to a positive birth experience, you know, whatever kind of birth you get, because now BV is also an integrated center. We have C-sections also happening here. So, so I want you people to define what is a positive birth experience in one or two words if you can. What exactly do you think will lead to a positive birthing experience?
I haven't worked in a birthing center. Both my deliveries were in two different institutions. And birth village side I've seen through my cousin Amy. So what I felt is, both sides I've seen. So what I felt is, even from our home and from institutions, it would be better if you're informed well, like what they are going to do, the process.
Information, freedom, what else would you need to get a positive birth experience?
Involvement of the partner. It's even in an institution, even if they allow the partner to be there, it's just for that, you know, short amount of time, and from a distance they're just seeing what's happening. But here it's a completely different experience. It's like from day one they are there for everything, and during the labor also, it's them, their complete support, complete presence. I think that matters a lot.
Knowing your care provider and the care provider knowing you by name, and this is what the individual is, this is what the pregnant lady, that's more important, I feel.
Yeah, though it's 1 in a million births in the center or the institution, it's your 1 or 2 births that you're going to have, right? Yeah.
So I think connect with your care provider, the respect and feeling that safety is also very necessary.
I think I've birthed my mother myself, but I've supported my sister, like I was a birth support partner for her. I think the right education plays a very important role in the time when we are like overloaded with social media and information which is clashing, so you really don't know to, even though you have the autonomy to make that choice, you know, you have lived on your own, your experience, but you still ended up making wrong decisions because you're not informed and you don't know to head in which direction. So yeah, I think right education really plays a big role.
Education. What else?
I have some.
Yeah.
So for me, like based on the negative experience in my first birth, for me it would have been more positive if consent was involved. I was not asked before they broke my water. I was not asked anything. I was not told anything. There was like zero permission, or forget about permission. Just telling is enough. That itself was not there. There was no consent involved at all. And the only positive thing that I remember in the whole birth experience, my first one was like when I was in the theater, I was crying unconsolably, and there was a male nurse. He came and he's like, you can hold my. I was very scared when they were trying to, do the anesthesia, and he gave his hand and he said, "You can hold my hand." That was the kind gesture by that nurse is the only positive experience that I can. So I think being kind also is like plays a big role in a positive experience. In Birth Village, like how is the cesarean section in Birth Village different from other places?
See, I think one thing is every woman deserves a good trial of labor, right? Everybody does. And sometimes she may have medical conditions wherein it may be hard to give a trial of labor because she may be having high blood pressure. There are situations. But what I feel is, number one, explain to her completely everything. And that may take close to 1 hour. It will take time. And that is where we need to have patience to understand that this person is actually processing that the birth of her dreams may not happen. It may not happen for this person, right? Her dream is to have a natural vaginal or normal delivery, whichever way you define it, but it may not happen is a big blow to her, and that will take some time. But once she gets what is happening with her body, what's happening with the baby, then she understands, okay, now I'm going to go for a trial of labor, which might be medicated. It can go in any direction. This must be explained to the husband also, because he's equally has to know what is going on, right? So it takes time to explain this. And the next thing is, whatever procedure is happening, I'm talking in terms of an interventional birth now, must be done with the partner being present inside. Whether it's an induction, whatever it means, explain that this is happening now, this is happening now, this is happening now. So actually, ever since we opened, we had now 3 surgeries here. And I have to give it to them that, it was, there were long labors, there was one with hypertension, there were different issues going on. But we noticed that when it was explained and told, they actually said, I'm ready to go for the surgery right now. They said that. It was not necessarily this way, it was the other way around. And they were completely at peace with that decision. We say being at peace. So being at peace, explaining everything, also giving the option if the husband would like to be inside the surgery. This was something very important for me. What was the reason for Birth Village to open the theatre, the NICU? Because we got fed up over 10 years. We got fed up of, this model that we had for 10 years is amazing if you have amazing transfer systems in place. It's amazing. We don't have to do all this, nor are we interested actually. But if you have an amazing collaborative system, like abroad, you have that. You have a 911 that comes in, that picks you, that transfers you. You'll have an amazing set of care providers waiting there for you. That is the best thing ever. But we don't have that here. And that's the reality. So it was very clear that when we have a new system, we need to have a system where we can offer continuity of care. We used to struggle previously when somebody had a transfer and she would be crying all the time. We had to see this and that's very difficult for us to see. But now it's different because people are going home empowered. And ultimately, that's what everybody wants, Go home happy. Go home happy with your baby. That's what, and there's no breastfeeding problems, there's no issues. You're fully satisfied and happy. Because without that, it's very difficult to move on. If you care about your institution, if you care about your practices. So I think those differences we've been able to institute now, and that has changed like, it's like a 360-degree turn for us and for the women. you know. So, and I asked the dads also post surgery, how did you feel? Are you okay? Being, they're like, no, it's totally fine. They had some questions about the surgery. They would ask us that, about the medicines and everything, explain everything what's going on. And you know, so it changes. It completely changes the whole picture of birth, because I realized the whole element throughout the process is that women just want to be supported. That's all. Let it be whatever be the decision, they just want to be supported in the process. And as long as that is there, they're happy.
It's years and years and years of period shaming and body shaming and patriarchy and so many things that we are carrying on all our shoulders and in our wombs and in our breasts and in our vulvas and vaginas and everywhere that we have to let go during birth. It's not an easy process. Yeah. So it's not just the care provider wanting to make the woman go through a safe experience or getting the baby out safely. It's also about the woman feeling safe at that moment that matters. So tell us, Priyanka, what is your plan for the next 10 years?
Okay. My plan for the next 10 years is to see the facility grow, especially to provide respectful maternity care in all sectors, and to be a model for the country, actually, to see that it is possible to work with different disciplines yet have respectful care and women and babies at the center. The second thing, obviously, which is also a dream which would definitely take a long time, is training, upscaling, education, midwifery. All that is in the next pipeline, because obviously I'm not going to live forever. So that's the next thing. I think the third thing is also to be a center of excellence, you know, and that's not easy. And we have to always question ourselves every day. Did we do this right? Because if we we need that space to question ourselves. I don't want to be a center that we will be working to a point where we can't think for ourselves. And I know a lot of good doctors out there who are really genuine, who are really good, but they don't get the space to introspect what they are doing. Last but not the least, also to work with with mothers and families who would like to experience midwifery care. Such a nice thing to see people and hear people, what people have to say, and listen to their experiences, and you know, it makes you think about your own practice, to see how we can integrate all your voices. It's very important, and only then can we also grow, otherwise we can't.
My mother, she's no more. She came to Vaitla Center and inquired, and she made this phone call and she said, it's not a village, it's just a hope. Because she thought it was a village, okay, birth village. So I really hope more Priyankas are made thanks to Birth Village, and more birth villages are made in the future, and we all get to experience this across the country. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. In the beginning, I told you it was a debate. I don't know why I said that. It's actually a discussion. So I hope to see more discussions like this also.
Yeah.
So I think every layman and every care provider should watch this. They need to see from the women. They need to hear from the women what they went through, what they want. If we speak out about what we want, we can change the system. We can change not everything into a birth village, but at least the bare minimum. As what you said, you know, positive birth experiences, feeling safe and all, we can make it happen everywhere. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you so much.
Thank you.